Welcome to our Certified Information Security Manager Question and Answers series. In this series, we'll break down key concepts, exam tips, and practical insights to help you master the CISM certification. Whether you're studying for the exam or just looking to expand your knowledge, we've got you covered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates. Let's dive into today's questions. As the Information Security Manager at Certification Terminal, you understand the significance of having well-documented security guidelines and operating procedures. What would you say is the most important benefit of having these documents in place for your organization? Option A: reduction in the need for security audits. Option B: increased flexibility in security measures. Option C: ease of employee training and onboarding. Option D: consistent activities lead to a more stable and secure environment. The correct answer is Option D: consistent activities lead to a more stable and secure environment. The primary benefit of having well-documented security guidelines and operating procedures is that they establish consistency in security practices, which is crucial for maintaining a stable and secure environment. Clear and documented procedures ensure that all employees follow the same processes, reducing the risk of errors and inconsistencies that could lead to security vulnerabilities. Consistency in operations helps minimize the chances of security breaches and ensures that the organization's security posture remains strong and resilient over time. Option A: reduction in the need for security audits, is incorrect. While well-documented security guidelines and procedures may help streamline security audits, they do not directly reduce the need for audits. Audits are necessary to evaluate the effectiveness of security measures, compliance, and potential vulnerabilities, regardless of the existence of documented procedures. Documentation aids audits, but does not eliminate their necessity. Option B: increased flexibility in security measures, is incorrect as well. Having documented guidelines and procedures generally leads to greater consistency and control, not flexibility. Security procedures are designed to standardize practices and ensure predictable, secure outcomes. Increased flexibility in security measures could lead to inconsistent practices, which may introduce security risks. Ease of employee training and onboarding, which is specified by Option C, is also incorrect. While documented guidelines certainly aid in training and onboarding by providing clear, structured information, the primary benefit of such documents is to create a consistent and secure environment. Training is a secondary benefit, whereas the main advantage lies in the stability and security achieved through consistent practices. Next question. In a company where cybersecurity is a top priority, which of the following metrics would you consider the most accurate in evaluating the effectiveness of their information security program over the past quarter? Option A: the total budget allocated for information security. Option B: meaningful metrics that support the decision-making process. Option C: percentage of employees who have completed security awareness training. Option D: compliance with industry standards. The correct answer is Option B: meaningful metrics that support the decision-making process. While all options might seem relevant to cybersecurity, the most accurate metric for evaluating the effectiveness of an information security program is one that directly measures its impact on the organization's security posture. The meaningful metrics are mean time to detect, MTTD, mean time to respond, MTTR, number of successful cyber attacks, percentage of vulnerabilities patched, incident response effectiveness, user behavior analytics metrics. Mean time to detect refers to the average time it takes an organization to detect a security incident or breach. A lower MTTD indicates a quicker identification of threats, which allows for a faster response. Mean time to respond is the average time it takes to respond to and remediate a detected security incident. This includes activities such as containment, mitigation, and recovery. A lower MTTR suggests a more efficient response process. Number of successful cyberattacks metric tracks the number of cyberattacks that have successfully breached an organization's defenses, leading to a security incident. It provides insight into the effectiveness of the organization's security measures. Percentage of vulnerabilities patched measures the percentage of identified vulnerabilities in an organization's systems that have been fixed or patched. A higher percentage reflects stronger proactive security maintenance and vulnerability management. Incident response effectiveness refers to how well an organization can respond to and mitigate security incidents. It typically evaluates the speed, efficiency, and outcomes of incident response efforts, including the containment of damage and recovery. User behavior analytics metrics monitor and analyze user activity patterns to detect abnormal or potentially malicious behavior within an organization's network or systems. They help identify insider threats, compromised accounts, or unusual activity that could indicate a security risk. Option A. The total budget allocated for information security is incorrect. While a significant budget can support robust security measures, it doesn't directly measure the effectiveness of the program. Option C is incorrect as well. While awareness training is important, it doesn't necessarily translate to improved security practices or reduced security incidents. Compliance with industry standards, option D, is also incorrect. Compliance is essential, but it's a baseline requirement, not a measure of overall security effectiveness. Next question. Suppose you are the head of information security at a large tech company. Why is it important to align your cybersecurity strategies with the corporate governance objectives, and what is the primary reason for doing so? Option A. Build capabilities to improve customer satisfaction. Option B. Realign roles and responsibilities. Option C. Consistently manage significant areas of risk. Option D. Identify an organization's tolerance for risk. The correct answer is Option C. Consistently manage significant areas of risk. Aligning cybersecurity strategies with corporate governance objectives ensures that cybersecurity risks are consistently managed as part of the organization's overall risk management framework. Corporate governance is focused on overseeing and managing various types of risks, and cybersecurity is a critical component of these risks. By aligning cybersecurity with governance, you create a unified approach to managing risks, which allows for a more comprehensive, strategic, and consistent handling of potential threats across the organization. This alignment helps protect the company's assets, reputation, and compliance obligations in a proactive manner. Option A. Build capabilities to improve customer satisfaction is incorrect. While building capabilities to improve customer satisfaction is important, it is not the primary reason for aligning cybersecurity with corporate governance objectives. The focus of governance alignment is on managing risk effectively, ensuring that the security measures are integrated with overall risk strategies, rather than focusing on customer satisfaction. Option B. Realign roles and responsibilities is incorrect as well. While realigning roles and responsibilities may be a part of the governance alignment process, it is not the primary goal. The main purpose of alignment is to manage risk consistently. Realigning roles and responsibilities is a tactical step, but it is not the primary reason for aligning cybersecurity with corporate governance objectives. Option D specifies to identify an organization's tolerance for risk, which is also incorrect. Identifying an organization's tolerance for risk is certainly an important component of risk management, but it is not the primary reason for aligning cybersecurity with corporate governance. The goal is to consistently manage risks, ensuring that cybersecurity strategies are implemented effectively in the context of the company's overall risk management framework. Identifying risk tolerance is just one piece of the broader risk management picture. Next question. As a CISO in a growing e-commerce company, you need to get full support for your cybersecurity initiatives from both technical and non-technical teams. What approach is most effective in ensuring broad backing? Option A. To publish policies, guidelines, and other information on an intranet site. Option B. To publish business metrics to executive management. Option C. To form a security council consisting of business stakeholders to solicit input and make risk decisions. Option D. To survey business stakeholders to learn more about their concerns and preferences. The correct answer is Option C. To form a security council consisting of business stakeholders to solicit input and make risk decisions. Forming a security council with business stakeholders ensures that there is alignment between cybersecurity initiatives and the broader business goals of the company. Involving both technical and non-technical teams in the decision-making process allows the CISO to address concerns, prioritize risks, and gain the support needed from across the organization. This approach fosters collaboration and ensures that all stakeholders are engaged in the security program, increasing the likelihood of obtaining broad backing for cybersecurity initiatives. Option A. To publish policies, guidelines, and other information on an intranet site is incorrect. While publishing information on an intranet can be useful for awareness, it doesn't actively engage business stakeholders in decision-making. Simply posting policies and guidelines does not ensure that both technical and non-technical teams are involved in shaping the program, nor does it address their concerns in a collaborative way. Option B. To publish business metrics to executive management is incorrect as well. Publishing business metrics can inform executive management, but it doesn't guarantee the involvement of broader stakeholders or foster collaboration. While executives need to be informed, simply sharing metrics may not be sufficient to build strong support or ensure the participation of other departments in security decisions. Option D is also incorrect. While surveys can provide useful insights, they are a one-way form of communication and may not be effective in creating the kind of collaborative environment needed for broad support. A security council provides a more active platform for ongoing discussion and decision-making, which is more likely to lead to lasting support for cybersecurity initiatives. Next question. As the information security manager of a global organization that shares customer information across branches worldwide, what would be the most pressing concern for ensuring the integrity and security of this data? Option A. Insecure wide area networks. Option B. Decentralization of information security. Option C. Cross-cultural differences between branches. Option D. Conflicting data protection regulations. The correct answer is Option A. Insecure wide area networks. In a global organization with multiple branches sharing sensitive customer information, the most pressing security concern would be the security of the network connections between these branches. Insecure WANs can expose the organization to a wide range of threats, including data breaches, unauthorized access, and cyber attacks. Option B. Decentralization of information security is incorrect. While decentralization can pose challenges, it's not the most pressing concern. A centralized security strategy with decentralized implementation can effectively address this. Option C. Cross-cultural differences between branches is incorrect as well. Cultural differences can impact communication and collaboration, but they don't directly affect the security of data. Option D. Conflicting data protection regulations is also incorrect. While compliance with various data protection regulations is important, it's a complex but manageable challenge. The immediate threat to data integrity and security lies in the underlying network infrastructure. Next question. As part of your company's efforts to safeguard user data, you're tasked with aligning your data protection policies with newly enacted privacy regulations. What initiatives should you prioritize to ensure both security and compliance? Option A. Encrypt all individual data across all systems and network segments. Option B. Catalog and map out all systems housing personal data. Option C. Reframe the punitive measures for breaches of data privacy. Option D. Determine the most appropriate privacy technologies for effective data safeguarding. The correct answer is Option B. Catalog and map out all systems housing personal data. When implementing a data protection protocol in line with data privacy laws, the first crucial step is understanding where all personal data is stored, processed, and transmitted. By cataloging and mapping out the systems that house personal data, you ensure a comprehensive understanding of the data flow across the organization. This is essential for compliance with privacy regulations such as GDPR or CCPA, which require businesses to know and protect personal data, as well as ensure that access controls, encryption, and other protective measures are effectively implemented. Option A. Encrypt all individual data across all systems and network segments is incorrect. While encryption is an essential part of data protection, it is not the first initiative to prioritize. Before encrypting data, you must identify and catalog all the systems containing personal data to understand what data needs encryption. Encrypting data without this mapping could lead to inefficiencies or missing critical data. It is an important security measure, but should come after the data mapping process. Option C is incorrect as well. This option focuses on the consequences of data privacy violations rather than addressing how to ensure data protection and compliance from the outset. While having clear punitive measures is important for enforcement, the initial priority should be to safeguard the data, not just manage penalties. Ensuring compliance and security should precede framing penalties. Option D is also inappropriate. Choosing privacy technologies is important, but it should come after the identification and mapping of data systems. Without understanding where your personal data resides, selecting the right technologies would be less effective. Mapping the systems housing the data is the first step, followed by choosing the necessary technologies to protect it. Next question. Your organization is planning to invest in the latest cybersecurity tools to combat emerging threats. What is the most dependable source to gain insight into new and evolving security vulnerabilities and risks? Option A. Reports from firms involved in threat research and intelligence. Option B. General news sources and media outlets. Option C. Social media platforms and online forums. Option D. Employee feedback and internal incident reports. The correct answer is Option A. Reports from firms involved in threat research and intelligence. Reports from firms specializing in threat research and intelligence are the most dependable source for gaining insight into new and evolving security vulnerabilities and risks. These firms, such as FireEye, CrowdStrike, and others, focus specifically on identifying and analyzing emerging threats. Their research is grounded in expert analysis, real-time data collection, and detailed assessments of current and potential risks, making them a reliable and authoritative source for cybersecurity professionals. These reports often include data on vulnerabilities, attack trends, and advanced persistent threats, which are critical for organizations to adapt their cybersecurity measures. Option B. General news sources and media outlets is incorrect. While general news sources and media outlets can provide information on significant cybersecurity events, they are not always reliable or timely when it comes to tracking emerging vulnerabilities. News outlets tend to report on high-profile incidents or breaches, but they do not offer the in-depth technical analysis, required to understand the latest cybersecurity risks and vulnerabilities. The information may be general and lacking in specificity, which is less useful for proactive security measures. Option C, social media platforms and online forums, is incorrect as well. Social media platforms and online forums, such as Twitter or Reddit, can sometimes provide early warnings about threats, but they are not considered dependable sources for reliable and validated information on emerging vulnerabilities. Information from these sources can be unverified, speculative, and prone to misinformation, which is a risk when making important security decisions. While some cybersecurity experts may share useful insights, relying on social media for serious threat intelligence is not advisable. Option D, employee feedback and internal incident reports, is also incorrect. Employee feedback and internal incident reports are useful for addressing specific internal issues within an organization, but they are not a comprehensive or forward-looking source for tracking external or emerging threats. These reports are reactive rather than proactive and generally focus on past incidents rather than emerging risks. They provide valuable information for improving internal processes, but are not suitable for keeping up with broader, evolving cybersecurity threats in the global landscape. Next question. A government agency has formed a team to review potential vulnerabilities in their IT infrastructure and advise on securing sensitive citizen data. What would be the most accurate description of the risk assessment team's role in managing the agency's overall information security program? Option A, to develop and enforce security policies. Option B, to conduct regular security audits. Option C, to handle all security incidents. Option D, to identify and assess security risks. The correct answer is Option D, to identify and assess security risks. The risk assessment team's primary role is to identify and evaluate security risks to the agency's IT infrastructure, particularly focusing on vulnerabilities that could compromise sensitive citizen data. Their responsibility is not to develop policies, conduct audits regularly, or handle incidents, but rather to assess potential risks and recommend solutions to mitigate them. Option A, to develop and enforce security policies, is incorrect. This task is typically handled by a separate policy-making body or security management team within the agency. The risk assessment team focuses on identifying risks, not necessarily on creating or enforcing policies. Option B, to conduct regular security audits, is incorrect as well. While the risk assessment team may play a role in the audit process, it is generally the responsibility of internal auditors or dedicated security auditing teams to perform regular security audits. Risk assessors focus on identifying vulnerabilities and evaluating the security landscape. Option C states to handle all security incidents. This option is also incorrect. Handling security incidents is the responsibility of the incident response team, not the risk assessment team. The latter focuses on identifying and assessing potential risks before incidents occur, rather than managing incidents once they have happened. Next question. A company has just discovered a zero-day vulnerability in its core software. The organization's information security manager needs to act immediately to maintain the company's resilience against potential exploitation. What should the manager prioritize in this situation to ensure minimal disruption? Option A, develop a patch management strategy to address known loopholes. Option B, isolate the affected systems to contain potential exposure. Option C, ignore the vulnerability and hope for the best. Option D, conduct an immediate vulnerability scan on all critical systems. The correct answer is Option B, isolate the affected systems to contain potential exposure. When a zero-day vulnerability is discovered, it means that the flaw is being exploited before a patch is available, so it is critical to prevent further damage. Isolating the affected systems is the best immediate action to contain any potential exploitation and stop the vulnerability from spreading or being used by attackers. This helps ensure minimal disruption while the organization works on a longer-term solution, such as developing patches. Option A. Develop a patch management strategy to address known loopholes is incorrect. Although patch management is crucial in maintaining long-term security, it's not the immediate action when dealing with a zero-day vulnerability. Since a patch is not yet available for the zero-day, the priority should be to contain the exposure rather than waiting for a patch strategy. Option C. Ignore the vulnerability and hope for the best is incorrect as well. Ignoring a zero-day vulnerability is an extremely dangerous approach. If the vulnerability is not addressed, it could quickly be exploited by attackers, resulting in significant damage to the organization's data, reputation, and operational capability. This option is highly irresponsible and could lead to a security breach. Option D is also incorrect. Running a vulnerability scan is helpful for identifying vulnerabilities, but it should not be the first step after discovering a zero-day. The primary focus should be on isolating affected systems, as scanning may not immediately address the active exploitation of the vulnerability, especially if the exploit is already in progress. Next question. When it is discovered that an employee is violating company policies by sharing sensitive corporate data with a third-party consultant using an external cloud storage service, what should be the first course of action? Option A. Report the incident to the HR department. Option B. Publicly shame the employee in a company-wide email. Option C. Immediately block the external cloud storage service. Option D. Understand the criticality of the data shared. The correct answer is Option D. Understand the criticality of the data shared. Before taking any drastic actions, it's crucial to assess the severity of the data breach. Understanding the sensitivity of the information compromised will help determine the appropriate response and prioritize actions. Option A. Report the incident to the HR department is incorrect. While HR may eventually be involved, the initial focus should be on assessing the security risk and mitigating the damage. Reporting to HR too early might escalate the situation unnecessarily, potentially leading to hasty decisions. Option B. Publicly shame the employee in a company-wide email is inaccurate. Publicly shaming an employee is a highly unprofessional and unethical practice. It can damage the employee's reputation and morale, and it may not be the most effective way to address the issue. Option C, which specifies to immediately block the external cloud storage service, is also incorrect. Blocking the service might prevent further data leaks, but it could also hinder business operations if critical data is stored there. It's important to assess the situation before taking such a drastic step. Additionally, blocking the service might not be sufficient to recover the data that has already been shared. Next question. When securing an outbound internet connection, which implementation mode, such as using an encrypted tunnel or a secure gateway, offers the highest protection against data exposure or compromise? Option A. Tunnel mode with AH plus ESP. Option B. Secure sockets layer mode. Option C. Triple DS encryption mode. Option D. Transport mode with authentication header plus encapsulating security payload. The correct answer is Option A. Tunnel mode with AH plus ESP. This is the most secure option because tunnel mode, combined with authentication header and encapsulating security payload, ensures both authentication and encryption for the entire packet, including the IP header and the payload. This provides the highest level of protection when transmitting data over an untrusted network, such as the Internet. Tunnel mode creates a secure tunnel between two endpoints, and AH ensures data integrity and authenticity, while ESP encrypts the data payload. This combination offers comprehensive security by both protecting the data from interception and ensuring its authenticity. Option B. Secure Sockets Layer Mode is incorrect. SSL is a protocol primarily used for securing data transmitted between web browsers and servers, typically used for HTTPS connections. While it provides encryption, it doesn't offer the same level of network-wide security as tunnel mode, with AH plus ESP. SSL only focuses on securing the data at the application layer, not the entire outbound connection. This makes SSL suitable for browser-based connections, but not for securing all types of outbound traffic. Option C. Triple DES encryption mode is not valid. Triple DES is an encryption algorithm that applies the data encryption standard 3 times for each data block, enhancing its security over standard DS. However, Triple DS focuses only on encryption, not on data integrity or authentication. While it protects data from being read by unauthorized parties, it does not prevent data tampering or provide end-to-end security, making it less comprehensive compared to tunnel mode with AH plus ESP. Option D is incorrect as well. Transport mode is a simpler mode compared to tunnel mode and is typically used for end-to-end communication between 2 hosts. While it uses AH for authentication and ESP for encryption, it does not protect the entire packet, including the IP header, which could be exposed. This makes transport mode less secure than tunnel mode, which encapsulates the entire packet, offering superior security for outbound connections, especially when crossing insecure networks like the Internet. Next question. If you are designing a network to handle increased traffic between different office branches, which device would you use that can temporarily store frames and then forward them to other parts of the network to ensure smooth communication? Option A. Gateway. Option B. Repeater. Option C. Router. Option D. Bridge. The correct answer is Option D. Bridge. A bridge is specifically designed to connect and extend different network segments. It stores frames temporarily in its buffer and then forwards them to the correct destination. Bridges operate at the data link layer of the OSI model and help filter traffic by learning the addresses of devices in the network, forwarding only relevant frames to the appropriate segment. This allows for the extension of the network and helps reduce congestion by managing the traffic between different segments, making the communication smooth. Option A. Gateway is incorrect. A gateway is a device that acts as an entry and exit point between different networks, often across different protocols or architectures. While a gateway does facilitate communication between networks, it does not function to store and forward frames like a bridge does. It typically operates at higher layers of the OSI model, such as the network layer, and its main function is to translate protocols and route traffic between different networks. Option B. Repeater is not valid. A repeater is used to extend the range of a network by amplifying or regenerating signals. It does not store or forward frames. Repeaters simply take an incoming signal and retransmit it, ensuring the signal strength is maintained over long distances. This device only works at the physical layer and does not have the capability to filter or store frames. Option C. Router is incorrect as well. A router is used to forward data packets between different networks, usually based on IP addresses. Routers work at the network layer and are primarily responsible for routing packets, rather than storing frames. While routers do play a crucial role in directing traffic between different office branches, they don't function as a bridge when it comes to temporarily storing frames before forwarding them within the same network segment. Next question. As your company plans to implement a new software application across all departments, what key security measures should you prioritize to ensure that sensitive data remains protected during and after the rollout? Option A. Ensure compatibility with the existing software stack. Option B. Monitor and analyze software usage metrics after launch. Option C. Incorporate security controls based on a risk assessment. Option D. Prioritize software features based on business requirements. The correct answer is Option C. Incorporate security controls based on a risk assessment. Incorporating security controls based on a risk assessment is crucial for ensuring that sensitive data remains protected during and after the rollout. A risk assessment identifies potential vulnerabilities and threats, enabling you to implement the necessary security measures to mitigate them. This approach ensures that security is proactively addressed based on the specific risks your organization faces, which is key to maintaining data protection. Option A. Ensure compatibility with the existing software stack is incorrect. While ensuring compatibility with existing software is important for smooth integration, it does not directly address security concerns. Compatibility focuses more on functionality and interoperability, rather than safeguarding sensitive data during implementation. Option B. Monitor and analyze software usage metrics after launch is not valid. Monitoring and analyzing software usage metrics is essential for ongoing performance tracking, but it doesn't directly prevent security risks during the rollout. This step comes after the software is implemented and is more related to optimization than securing sensitive data. Option D. Prioritize software features based on business requirements is incorrect as well. Prioritizing features based on business requirements ensures that the software meets organizational needs, but this does not directly concern the protection of sensitive data. Security should be a priority alongside feature prioritization, not just after determining business requirements. Next question. An information security officer learns about a new law aimed at securing the data involved in a specific financial transaction. What should be the officer's first course of action to address this regulation and ensure sensitive information is adequately protected? Option A. Meet with stakeholders to decide how to comply. Option B. Update the existing security or privacy policy. Option C. Assess whether existing controls meet the regulation. Option D. Analyze key risks in the compliance process. The correct answer is Option C. Assess whether existing controls meet the regulation. The first step an information security officer should take when learning about a new regulation is to assess whether existing controls meet the regulation. This is crucial because it helps the officer quickly determine if the current security measures and controls are sufficient or if additional steps are needed to ensure compliance. By understanding the gaps or compliance issues early on, the officer can take targeted action to address them, ensuring sensitive data is protected in line with the new regulation. Option A. Meet with stakeholders to decide how to comply is incorrect. Meeting with stakeholders is important, but it is not the first course of action. Before deciding how to comply, the information security officer needs to assess whether the current systems already comply with the new regulation. Stakeholder meetings should come after this initial assessment to ensure they are addressing the actual compliance gaps. Option B. Update the existing security or privacy policy is not valid. Updating the security or privacy policy is necessary, but it should come after assessing the existing controls. The officer needs to understand whether the current security practices meet the new regulation before making changes to policies. Implementing policy changes without first confirming compliance can lead to unnecessary adjustments and may not address the root compliance issues. Option D. Analyze key risks in the compliance process is incorrect as well. While analyzing risks is a vital step, it should not be the first action. The officer should first assess whether the existing controls are in line with the new regulation. Once this is determined, analyzing risks and potential gaps in the compliance process can follow. Risk analysis is part of an ongoing process after the initial assessment of current controls. Next question. As the Information Security Manager, you are tasked with ensuring the security of a new product your company is launching in a market with high cyber attack risk. What technical measures would you prioritize to safeguard the product from potential vulnerabilities? Option A. Ensuring the product undergoes thorough security testing and vulnerability assessments. Option B. Offering a user-friendly interface to maximize sales. Option C. Keeping the price of the product competitive despite increased security measures. Option D. Collaborating with local authorities for a smooth launch. The correct answer is Option A. Ensuring the product undergoes thorough security testing and vulnerability assessments. As an Information Security Manager, the most important action to safeguard a new product in a market with high cyber attack risk is to ensure that the product undergoes thorough security testing and vulnerability assessments. This is a proactive measure to identify potential vulnerabilities and weaknesses before the product is launched, ensuring that it is secure against attacks. By performing penetration testing, code reviews, and vulnerability scanning, you can mitigate risks and strengthen the product's security posture, protecting both the product and user data. Option B. Offering a user-friendly interface to maximize sales is incorrect. While a user-friendly interface is essential for customer satisfaction and sales, it does not directly contribute to the security of the product. Focusing solely on the user interface without addressing security vulnerabilities would leave the product exposed to cyber attacks, undermining its overall safety. Option C is not valid. While competitive pricing is important for the product's market success, it should not take precedence over security. Sacrificing security measures to maintain a lower price can leave the product vulnerable to attacks, which could result in significant losses and damage to the company's reputation. Security should always be a priority, especially in a high-risk market. Option D. Collaborating with local authorities for a smooth launch is incorrect as well. Collaborating with local authorities may help with regulatory compliance and logistics, but it is not a direct technical measure to safeguard the product. Ensuring the product is secure against cyber attacks should be the primary focus, and while local authority collaboration may assist in other areas, it does not address the core security concerns of the product launch. Next question. When implementing data loss prevention solutions in an enterprise, what is the main technical goal behind these systems to ensure data security and prevent data leakage across the network? Option A. To recover lost data after a security incident. Option B. To protect sensitive data from unauthorized disclosure or exfiltration. Option C. To block all external communication. Option D. To prevent data theft by employees. The correct answer is Option B. To protect sensitive data from unauthorized disclosure or exfiltration. The main technical goal of data loss prevention solutions is to protect sensitive data from unauthorized disclosure or exfiltration. DLP systems monitor, detect, and prevent the unauthorized movement or access of sensitive data across a network, ensuring that confidential information is not leaked or stolen. These systems enforce security policies to prevent data breaches and maintain compliance with privacy regulations by restricting access to sensitive data only to authorized individuals or processes. Option A. To recover lost data after a security incident is incorrect. This option is related to data recovery rather than data protection. DLP systems are not focused on recovering data after a security breach. Instead, they focus on preventing data loss by identifying and blocking unauthorized attempts to access or transmit sensitive information. Data recovery would typically involve backup solutions, not DLP systems. Option C, to block all external communication, is not valid. While DLP systems may restrict certain types of communication, such as emails with sensitive attachments, they do not block all external communication. DLP solutions aim to prevent the unauthorized sharing of sensitive data, not to entirely block external communication. Blocking all external communication would severely disrupt business operations and communication, which is not the goal of DLP. Option D, to prevent data theft by employees, is incorrect as well. While DLP systems do help prevent data theft, they are not exclusively focused on employee theft. DLP systems are designed to protect against any unauthorized access, including external threats or inadvertent data leaks, not just malicious actions by employees. Employee theft is a potential threat, but DLP addresses a broader range of data leakage risks, both internal and external. Next question. In the context of compliance and audits, a CISO notices that a SOC 1 Type 2 report contains a qualified opinion from the auditor. What is the significance of a qualified opinion in such a report, and how could it impact the company's compliance standing? Option A. It indicates that one or more control objectives in the audit have failed. Option B. It indicates that the service provider passed the SOC 2 audit with a perfect score. Option C. It indicates that the service provider failed the SOC 2 audit. Option D. It indicates that the service provider passed the SOC 2 audit. The correct answer is Option A. It indicates that one or more control objectives in the audit have failed. A qualified opinion in a SOC 1 Type 2 report means that the auditor has identified issues with the service provider's internal controls, indicating that one or more control objectives have not been fully met. A qualified opinion typically arises when an auditor is unable to provide an unqualified opinion due to certain limitations or deficiencies in the service provider's controls. This could affect the service provider's compliance standing, as it suggests there may be areas where the service provider's internal controls are not robust enough to meet the agreed-upon standards or compliance requirements. Option B is incorrect, because a qualified opinion in a SOC 1 Type 2 report has nothing to do with the outcome of a SOC 2 audit. SOC 1 and SOC 2 are different types of reports, with SOC 1 focusing on financial reporting controls and SOC 2 addressing security, availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy controls. A qualified opinion would not indicate a perfect score in a SOC 2 audit. Option C is not valid. While a qualified opinion suggests some issues with controls, it does not automatically mean the service provider has failed the SOC 2 audit. A qualified opinion means the auditor found some deficiencies or limitations, but the service provider may still have passed the audit, with some exceptions or qualifications. It does not imply a total failure. Option D is incorrect as well. A qualified opinion does not signify a clean, successful audit outcome. It suggests that the auditor identified certain issues or exceptions in the service provider's controls, meaning the audit was not entirely without issues. Therefore, this does not indicate a full pass in a SOC 2 audit. Next question. When trying to understand how well an organization's information security program is working, which metric would provide the clearest insight into its effectiveness, especially for non-technical stakeholders? Option A. Reduction in the number of vulnerabilities in an organization. Option B. Reduction in the cost of risk remediation for an organization. Option C. Reduction in the amount of risk exposure in an organization. Option D. Reduction in the number of threats to an organization. The correct answer is Option C. Reduction in the amount of risk exposure in an organization. The reduction in the amount of risk exposure provides the clearest insight into the effectiveness of an information security program, particularly for non-technical stakeholders. This metric directly reflects how much risk the organization is exposed to after implementing security measures. If risk exposure decreases, it suggests that the security program is doing its job in mitigating potential threats and vulnerabilities, leading to better overall security. This metric is understandable for non-technical stakeholders because it relates directly to the organization's safety and security posture. Option A. Reduction in the number of vulnerabilities in an organization is incorrect. While reducing vulnerabilities is important, this metric may not fully capture the effectiveness of an information security program. Vulnerabilities are just one part of the security landscape. Having fewer vulnerabilities doesn't necessarily mean that risk exposure has been reduced. An organization may have fewer vulnerabilities, but still face significant threats that leave it highly exposed. Option B is not valid. Although reducing the cost of risk remediation is a valuable goal, it doesn't directly measure the effectiveness of the security program itself. Lower remediation costs could result from less frequent incidents or better management processes, but this metric doesn't necessarily indicate the overall reduction in security risk or threats to the organization's data and systems. Option D is incorrect as well. A reduction in the number of threats is not always a clear indicator of an effective security program. Threats can fluctuate based on external factors, and just because fewer threats are detected doesn't mean the organization's defenses are stronger or more effective. Threats are dynamic and may change over time, so focusing on risk exposure provides a more accurate and stable measure of the program's success. Next question. When designing an application, what security feature would be most effective in addressing the data integrity risk that could result from unauthorized data modifications or corruption? Option A. Reconciliation routines such as checksums, hash totals, and record counts. Option B. Access control technologies such as role-based entitlements. Option C. Strict application of an authorized data dictionary. Option D. Application log requirements such as field-level audit trails and user activity logs. The correct answer is Option A. Reconciliation routines such as checksums, hash totals, and record counts. Reconciliation routines such as checksums, hash totals, and record counts are directly effective in addressing data integrity risks related to unauthorized data modifications or corruption. These routines help verify that the data remains intact and has not been tampered with during processing or transmission. For example, a checksum or hash function generates a unique value based on the data. If the data changes in any way, the checksum or hash value will change, alerting administrators to potential integrity issues. These methods are crucial in ensuring the consistency and reliability of the data within the application, providing a concrete measure to detect unauthorized alterations. Option B. Access control technologies such as role-based entitlements is incorrect. While access control technologies are essential for securing data from unauthorized access in the first place, they do not directly address data integrity in terms of ensuring that data has not been modified or corrupted. Role-based entitlements prevent unauthorized access, but do not verify or safeguard the integrity of data once it is accessed. Therefore, access controls are more relevant to confidentiality and availability, not specifically to integrity. Option C. Strict application of an authorized data dictionary is not valid. The authorized data dictionary ensures that data is used consistently across the system and complies with standards, but it doesn't directly protect the data from modifications or corruption. While useful for ensuring that the data is structured properly and used appropriately, a data dictionary doesn't help in detecting or correcting unauthorized modifications to the actual data. Thus, it doesn't effectively mitigate the risk of data integrity issues resulting from corruption or tampering. Option D is incorrect as well. Application logs and audit trails are important for tracking changes to the data and understanding who performed certain actions. While they provide valuable insight for forensic investigations, after an incident has occurred, they do not directly prevent data corruption or unauthorized changes. Logs can help detect issues after the fact, but they do not provide proactive measures for safeguarding the integrity of data. Therefore, they are more reactive than preventive when it comes to data integrity risks. Next question. Your company has budget constraints, and you need to develop a business case for acquiring advanced information security software. What would be the most effective way to showcase the benefits of the investment and ensure the acquisition is approved? Option A. Assessing the frequency of incidents. Option B. Quantifying the cost of control failures. Option C. Calculating return on investment projections. Option D. Comparing spending against similar organizations. The correct answer is Option C. Calculating return on investment projections. Calculating return on investment projections is the most effective approach when developing a business case for acquiring information security software. ROI projections provide stakeholders with a clear financial picture of how the investment in security software will lead to measurable returns, such as cost savings, improved operational efficiency, and reduction in risk-related losses. ROI makes the business case tangible and easily understandable, particularly for non-technical decision-makers. It links the investment in security software to quantifiable benefits, which is essential for securing approval. Option A. Assessing the frequency of incidents is incorrect. While assessing the frequency of incidents is useful for understanding the scope of security challenges within the organization, it does not directly address the financial implications of security risks. Knowing how often incidents occur is important, but it doesn't provide stakeholders with a clear understanding of the economic impact of not addressing the problem. Without understanding the potential costs, frequency alone won't effectively support the acquisition decision. Option B. Quantifying the cost of control failures is not valid. Quantifying the cost of control failures is indeed important in illustrating the potential financial losses from security breaches. However, ROI projections offer a more comprehensive and forward-looking view, emphasizing the long-term value and cost benefits of the investment. While the cost of failures highlights the risks, ROI projections connect the investment to specific positive outcomes and financial returns, making it more effective for business case development. Option D. Comparing spending against similar organizations is incorrect as well. Comparing spending against similar organizations may offer some insight into industry standards, but it does not directly address your organization's unique risks, costs, or needs. This comparison is unlikely to provide a strong, individualized argument for why the specific investment in security software is essential. It may lack the personal relevance and tailored financial rationale needed to convince stakeholders about the importance of the investment. Next question. When planning for disaster recovery, should an off-site processing facility be clearly marked or identifiable from the outside to improve recovery efficiency? Option A. False. Option B. True. The correct answer is Option A. False. An off-site processing facility should not be easily identifiable from the outside to improve recovery efficiency, as marking or making it too identifiable could present significant security risks. If the facility is easily recognizable, it could become a target for potential threats or attacks during a disaster recovery scenario. Additionally, the facility's location should generally be kept discreet to avoid attracting undue attention in case of an emergency. Instead of visibility, disaster recovery efficiency should focus on internal processes, secure access controls, and well-documented plans that ensure the facility can be utilized effectively during recovery without compromising security. Next question. What is the most critical first step for an information security manager to take when preparing to conduct a formal risk assessment of an organization's information resources? Option A. Determine the scope and objectives of the assessment. Option B. Develop a security awareness training program. Option C. Hire additional security personnel. Option D. Create a detailed list of potential security incidents to address. The correct answer is Option A. Determine the scope and objectives of the assessment. Determining the scope and objectives of the risk assessment is the critical first step because it sets the foundation for the entire process. By defining the scope, the information security manager identifies which systems, processes, and resources will be included in the assessment, ensuring that the focus is appropriate. The objectives provide direction for identifying and assessing risks, ensuring alignment with organizational priorities and business goals. This step allows the risk assessment to be thorough, relevant, and effective in identifying potential threats and vulnerabilities. Option B. Develop a security awareness training program is incorrect. Security awareness training is important for fostering a security-conscious culture, but it is not the first step in conducting a risk assessment. Before any training program can be developed, the scope and risks associated with the organization's information resources must first be identified. Option C. Hire additional security personnel is not valid. Hiring additional personnel is not the first step in a risk assessment. The priority is to understand the organization's existing security posture and the risks it faces. The decision to hire staff comes later, if additional resources are deemed necessary after the risk assessment has been conducted. Option D is incorrect as well. Creating a list of potential incidents is important, but it comes after determining the scope and objectives of the assessment. Identifying threats and vulnerabilities should be based on a structured risk assessment that considers the organization's context and resources, rather than being the first step. Next question. As an information security manager, you need to ensure that security protocols and guidelines are effectively communicated to all staff. Which method would provide the most comprehensive understanding and adherence to these guidelines? Option A. Periodic focus group meetings. Option B. Periodic compliance reviews. Option C. Employees signed acknowledgement. Option D. Computer-based certification training. The correct answer is Option D. Computer-based certification training. Computer-based certification training is the most comprehensive method for ensuring that security protocols and guidelines are effectively communicated and understood by all staff. CBT allows for consistent and scalable training across the entire organization. It ensures that employees receive the same level of information, can review materials at their own pace, and can be tested on their understanding. Additionally, CBT can include interactive elements such as quizzes, assessments, and real-life scenarios, reinforcing learning and improving retention. This method provides measurable results and ensures employees are well equipped to follow security protocols. Option A. Periodic focus group meetings is incorrect. While focus group meetings can provide valuable feedback on security protocols, they are not the most effective method for widespread communication of security procedures. These meetings are typically small, time-consuming, and may not reach all employees in an organization, making it harder to ensure universal understanding and adherence. Option B. Periodic compliance reviews is not valid. Periodic compliance reviews are important for assessing whether security guidelines are being followed, but do not serve as a proactive method to educate employees. They are typically reactive and may not provide ongoing education to ensure the understanding of security protocols. Training and awareness need to be continuous, not just reviewed periodically. Option C. Employees signed acknowledgement is incorrect as well. Having employees sign an acknowledgement that they have received and read security guidelines may seem like an official step, but it does not guarantee that employees truly understand the guidelines. This approach lacks a mechanism for testing comprehension or reinforcing the training, making it less effective compared to active training methods like CBT. Next question. As the lead security analyst responsible for integrating multiple IT tools from various vendors into the company's network infrastructure, what should be your top priority to ensure secure, effective integration and prevent security vulnerabilities? Option A. Prioritizing tools with the best user reviews. Option B. Ensuring interoperability without compromising security. Option C. Opting for the most cost-effective tools. Option D. Selecting tools based on their market dominance. The correct answer is Option B. Ensuring interoperability without compromising security. When integrating multiple IT tools from various vendors into the company's network infrastructure, the top priority should be ensuring interoperability without compromising security. This is crucial because the different tools must work seamlessly together, enabling smooth communication and operation across the network, while maintaining the security of the system as a whole. Focusing on security and ensuring that each tool is compatible with the existing infrastructure helps prevent vulnerabilities from being introduced into the system. Security protocols, data flow, and compatibility between tools must be checked thoroughly to avoid conflicts or security loopholes that could be exploited. Option A. Prioritizing tools with the best user reviews is incorrect. While user reviews can provide insights into the usability of a tool, they are not the most important factor when integrating IT tools in a security-sensitive environment. User reviews do not necessarily reflect how well a tool works in terms of security, compatibility, or integration with other systems. Security and interoperability should be prioritized over subjective opinions on user experience. Option C. Opting for the most cost-effective tools is not valid. Cost-effectiveness is important for budgeting, but should not be the primary factor in selecting IT tools for integration. Choosing tools solely based on cost may lead to compromising security or missing out on more secure, efficient solutions. Security and functionality should always take precedence over cost, as saving money on tools that introduce vulnerabilities could be far more expensive in the long run. Option D. Selecting tools based on their market dominance is incorrect as well. Market dominance or popularity is not a guarantee of security or seamless integration. While well-established vendors may offer reliable tools, they may not always be the best choice for a specific network infrastructure. Compatibility, security features, and integration capabilities should be the main considerations, not just market share. Next question. During a recent risk assessment, a critical risk was identified within the company's operations. The business process owner has decided to accept the risk, as the cost of remediation exceeds the potential damage of a worst-case scenario. As the information security manager, what should be your next step in managing this situation? Option A. Determine a lower-cost approach to remediation. Option B. Shut down the business application. Option C. Document and escalate to senior management. Option D. Document and schedule a date to revisit the issue. The correct answer is Option D. Document and schedule a date to revisit the issue. As the information security manager, when a business process owner decides to accept a risk because the remediation cost exceeds the potential damage, Your next step should be to document the decision and schedule a date to revisit the issue. Risk acceptance should be revisited periodically to ensure the risk profile hasn't changed over time. The conditions around the risk could evolve, and it's important to reassess the situation to ensure that it remains an acceptable risk. This also ensures that the risk is formally acknowledged and tracked, allowing the organization to stay proactive. Option A. Determine a lower cost approach to remediation is incorrect. While finding a lower cost approach to remediation is important, this step is not the immediate next course of action. If the business process owner has already determined that the cost of remediation exceeds the potential damage, attempting to find an alternative remediation approach may not be effective at this moment. The focus should be on proper documentation and monitoring, rather than trying to immediately find a less expensive solution. Option B. Shut down the business application is not valid. Shutting down the business application is an extreme measure and typically not necessary when a risk has been accepted by the business process owner. Risk acceptance means that the risk is deemed manageable at present. Therefore, immediately shutting down the application is disproportionate to the decision made. The appropriate action would be documenting and revisiting the issue later, not an immediate shutdown. Option C. Document and escalate to senior management is incorrect as well. While documenting the decision is essential, escalating to senior management may not be necessary unless there are significant strategic or compliance concerns that require their attention. In most cases, the information security manager's role involves tracking and managing risks without escalating every risk decision unless it impacts the overall business objectives. Instead, the manager should focus on ongoing risk monitoring and reassessment. Next question. When integrating cloud storage services into your company's network, what technical security considerations should you focus on first to ensure that your data remains safe from unauthorized access and breaches? Option A. Ensuring the cloud service can sync data across all devices. Option B. Ensuring data transfer aligns with company policies. Option C. Evaluating the degree of protection provided to data in the cloud. Option D. Ensuring the solution adheres to the company's data classification protocol. The correct answer is Option C. Evaluating the degree of protection provided to data in the cloud. When integrating cloud storage services into your company's network, evaluating the degree of protection provided to data in the cloud should be your first technical security focus. This includes ensuring that the cloud provider offers strong encryption, access controls, and other security measures to protect your data while stored in the cloud. Protection against unauthorized access, data breaches, and data loss is paramount, and it is crucial to assess whether the cloud service offers encryption both in transit and at rest, secure authentication mechanisms, and proper access control management. Option A is incorrect. While syncing data across devices is a useful feature, it is not directly related to the core security concerns of data protection. This concern is more about functionality and user convenience, rather than safeguarding the data itself from unauthorized access and breaches. Security should be prioritized before features like syncing. Option B. Ensuring data transfer aligns with company policies is not valid. While ensuring that data transfer aligns with company policies is important, it is a broader concern that deals with operational practices and compliance. The first technical security consideration should focus on the protection of data during storage in the cloud, which is more critical for preventing data breaches and unauthorized access. Data transfer security is important but secondary to how the data is protected once it's stored. Option D is incorrect as well. Adhering to the company's data classification protocol is important for managing and organizing data based on sensitivity. However, it is not the primary technical security concern when integrating cloud storage. Data classification ensures that data is appropriately categorized and accessed, but the actual protection of data through encryption and access controls should be prioritized to ensure security from breaches. Data classification is important, but not the first step in securing data in the cloud. Next question. As the Information Security Manager of Certification Terminal, end users are complaining that the newly implemented security controls are hindering their productivity. What is the first technical action you should take to assess whether the controls are indeed too restrictive or if adjustments are necessary? Option A. Implement additional compensating controls. Option B. Assess the user awareness training program. Option C. Perform an impact analysis of controls on business processes. Option D. Conduct a comprehensive review of the security controls. The correct answer is Option C. Perform an impact analysis of controls on business processes. The first technical action to assess whether the security controls are too restrictive or if adjustments are necessary should be to perform an impact analysis of controls on business processes. This step allows you to evaluate how the newly implemented security controls are affecting users' productivity and business operations. By analyzing the impact, you can determine whether the security measures are truly hindering workflows or if there are alternative approaches that can balance both security and user needs. The impact analysis will provide you with valuable data to make informed decisions about whether to adjust the controls or keep them in place. Option A. Implement additional compensating controls is incorrect. Implementing compensating controls should not be the first step. If the security controls are already hindering productivity, adding more controls could exacerbate the problem. The primary goal should be to evaluate the current impact of existing controls first, rather than adding new ones that may further restrict users. Compensating controls are typically used as a last resort, when primary controls fail to achieve security objectives without causing significant disruptions. Option B. Assess the user awareness training program is not valid. While assessing the user awareness training program is important, it is not the first technical action to take. The training might be part of the solution, but the immediate issue is understanding the impact of security controls on business processes. If users are experiencing difficulties, the problem may lie in the design of the security measures themselves, not necessarily in the training. Evaluating the impact first allows for a more focused approach to resolving the issue. Option D. Conduct a comprehensive review of the security controls is incorrect as well. Conducting a comprehensive review of the security controls is essential, but not the first step in this scenario. While reviewing the controls in depth is necessary, it is better to start by assessing the specific impact of those controls on business operations. By performing an impact analysis first, you can then identify the specific areas that require further investigation and review. A general review without understanding the specific impact may be inefficient and time-consuming. Next question. What is the use of a virtual private network? Option A. To provide a secure connection over the Internet. Option B. To prevent malware attacks. Option C. To improve Internet speed. Option D. To block access to certain websites. The correct answer is Option A. To provide a secure connection over the Internet. The primary purpose of a VPN is to create a secure and encrypted connection between a user's device and the Internet, ensuring that any data transmitted is protected from eavesdropping, interception, or unauthorized access. By encrypting traffic, a VPN ensures that even if a user is on a public or untrusted network, their Internet activity remains private and secure. It provides a secure connection over the Internet, which is especially important for remote work, secure browsing, or accessing sensitive data. Option B, to prevent malware attacks, is incorrect. While a VPN can help protect against some threats by securing your internet connection, it is not specifically designed to prevent malware attacks. Malware prevention is typically handled by antivirus software, firewalls, and other security tools that detect and block harmful software. A VPN primarily focuses on securing the internet connection, not directly protecting against malware. Option C, to improve internet speed, is not valid. A VPN does not inherently improve internet speed. In fact, in many cases, using a VPN can slightly reduce internet speed due to the overhead of encryption and routing through a VPN server. However, in some scenarios, such as bypassing throttling by an internet service provider, a VPN might appear to improve speed, but this is not its main function. Option D, to block access to certain websites, is incorrect as well. A VPN is not primarily used to block access to certain websites. While some VPN services allow users to access websites or content that might be restricted by their geographic location, its core function is to provide a secure connection over the internet. Blocking websites can be done by firewalls or network-level filtering tools, but this is not the main purpose of a VPN. Next question. When a phishing email leads to a ransomware infection on a company device, what is the immediate action an information security manager should take to address the situation effectively? Option A, inform senior leadership. Option B, segregate the affected endpoints. Option C, purge the compromised system. Option D, alert the internal legal team. The correct answer is Option B, segregate the affected endpoints. When a phishing email results in a ransomware infection, the immediate priority is to contain the threat and prevent it from spreading to other systems or devices on the network. The best initial step for the information security manager is to segregate the affected endpoints. This means isolating the infected device from the network to stop the ransomware from communicating with its command and control servers or spreading to other systems. Segregating the infected endpoints is a critical step in minimizing the damage and ensuring the ransomware doesn't affect other parts of the organization. Option A, inform senior leadership, is incorrect. While it is important to keep senior leadership informed of security incidents, informing senior leadership is not the immediate action to take in the event of a ransomware attack. The priority should be to contain the incident and stop the infection from spreading. Senior leadership should be notified after containment steps are in progress to ensure they are aware of the situation and can make informed decisions. Option C, purge the compromised system, is not valid. Although it might be necessary to remove the ransomware or wipe the compromised system after containment, purging the system is not the immediate action. Purging the system could lead to the loss of critical evidence or data that could be useful in investigating the attack. The priority is to first isolate the device to stop the spread, followed by further actions like system restoration or remediation. Option D, alert the internal legal team, is incorrect as well. Alerting the internal legal team is important for compliance and regulatory purposes, especially if the incident involves sensitive data or requires notification to authorities. However, this is not the first step. The immediate action should be to contain the threat by isolating the affected endpoints. Legal teams can be involved after the immediate containment, and technical measures have been taken to address the incident. Next question. As the Information Security Manager, what method or program would you implement to effectively educate end users about potential security vulnerabilities and how they can protect both their personal and organizational data? Option A, Implementing strict access controls. Option B. Phishing exercises. Option C. Deploying advanced intrusion detection systems. Option D. Conducting periodic vulnerability assessments. The correct answer is Option B. Phishing exercises. Phishing exercises are one of the most effective ways to educate end users about potential security vulnerabilities, especially since phishing is one of the most common methods attackers use to compromise systems. By simulating phishing attacks in a controlled environment, users can learn to identify suspicious emails and understand the tactics used by cyber criminals. This approach helps raise awareness of the dangers and trains employees on how to respond to phishing attempts, thus reducing the likelihood of them falling victim to real phishing attacks. Regular phishing exercises improve the user's ability to detect fraudulent emails and maintain the security of both personal and organizational data. Option A. Implementing strict access controls is incorrect. While strict access controls are essential for ensuring that only authorized individuals can access sensitive data, they do not directly address educating end users about security vulnerabilities or helping them protect their data. Access controls are more focused on restricting access to systems, not educating employees about security threats. They are a security measure rather than a training or awareness program. Option C. Deploying advanced intrusion detection systems is not valid. Intrusion detection systems are valuable for monitoring network activity and detecting potential attacks. However, they are primarily a technical measure aimed at identifying security breaches, not an educational tool for end users. IDS can help detect attacks, but they do not teach users about how to protect themselves from security vulnerabilities or how to recognize threats like phishing attempts. Option D. Conducting periodic vulnerability assessments is incorrect as well. While conducting periodic vulnerability assessments is important for identifying weaknesses in an organization's infrastructure, it is a technical activity aimed at improving the security posture of systems, not educating users. Vulnerability assessments help the IT team identify and fix system flaws, but they do not focus on end-user education or awareness of security risks. Next question. How can periodic reports be structured after a company introduces a new security patch management system, ensuring that they provide actionable insights into the patch deployment success and any areas that may still require attention? Option A. Providing insights on the effectiveness and areas of improvement for the protocol based on measurable metrics. Option B. Illustrating to stakeholders the organization's proactive approach to security. Option C. Demonstrating to regulatory bodies that the organization is compliant. Option D. Highlighting the team's efficiency in implementing the protocol on time. The correct answer is Option A. Providing insights on the effectiveness and areas of improvement for the protocol based on measurable metrics. Let's see why it is the correct option. This option directly addresses the need to evaluate the success of a new security patch management system by focusing on measurable metrics. These metrics help in understanding how well the system is performing, including the patch deployment success, any vulnerabilities, and areas requiring improvement. Regularly assessing these metrics ensures that the system is continuously optimized and aligned with the organization's security goals. This actionable insight is the core function of periodic reports. Option B is incorrect. While illustrating a proactive security approach is important, it is not the main focus of periodic reports on a patch management system. Stakeholders are more interested in the effectiveness of the deployment and the areas where improvements are needed, not just a general overview of the organization's approach. Periodic reports need more concrete data, not just a broad perspective on proactive behavior. Option C is not valid. Compliance reporting is important, but not the primary purpose of periodic reports, for patch management systems. The focus here should be on how well the patches are deployed and what their impact is on system security. Compliance with regulations may be part of the overall reporting, but it is secondary to understanding the patch system's effectiveness. Option D, which states, highlighting the team's efficiency in implementing the protocol on time, is not a valid option as well. Efficiency in implementation is important, but should not be the primary focus of periodic reports. The goal is to measure how well the patch management system is functioning, not just whether it was implemented on time. Effective reports should emphasize metrics that reflect system security and performance, not just the timeliness of the deployment. Next question. When senior management is being presented with the performance and future plans of an information security strategy, which factors will be the most persuasive in securing their long-term commitment to funding and supporting the initiative? Option A. Employee compliance with security policies. Option B. The number of security incidents reported. Option C. The latest cybersecurity trends and threats. Option D. Value achieved from security investment. The correct answer is Option D. Value achieved from security investment. Senior management is primarily concerned with the return on investment and the overall value derived from the resources allocated to information security. By demonstrating the tangible benefits of security investments, such as risk reduction, cost savings from avoided incidents, and improved business continuity, senior management is more likely to be persuaded to continue funding and supporting the security strategy. The value achieved can be measured in terms of reduced incidents, fewer data breaches, or enhanced regulatory compliance, which all justify ongoing commitment. Option A. Employee compliance with security policies is incorrect. Although employee compliance is important for the success of a security strategy, it does not directly address the value that senior management seeks. Compliance can be seen as a process that needs continuous monitoring and improvement, but it doesn't necessarily illustrate the broader impact of security investments. Senior management needs to understand how security initiatives contribute to overall business outcomes, not just the adherence to policies. Option B. The number of security incidents reported is not valid. While the number of security incidents is a relevant metric for understanding the effectiveness of a security strategy, it doesn't necessarily convey the full picture of the value achieved. Focusing only on the number of incidents may create a negative perception, without clearly showing how investments in security lead to a reduced impact over time. Senior management would likely want to see how the strategy prevents or mitigates risks, rather than just the frequency of incidents. Option C. The latest cybersecurity trends and threats is incorrect as well. Presenting the latest trends and threats can be useful for awareness, but does not directly support the case for ongoing investment. Senior management typically looks for results, rather than a list of threats. They want to know how the current security measures are addressing existing and emerging threats, and what value these measures bring to the organization. A presentation focused solely on trends can seem disconnected from actual security outcomes and performance. Next question. Imagine a company has just detected unusual network activity, possibly indicating a cyber attack. What should be the first step taken in the incident response process to effectively manage and mitigate this potential threat? Option A. Incident reporting. Option B. Forensic analysis. Option C. Incident identification. Option D. Incident containment. The correct answer is Option C. Incident identification. The first step in any incident response process is incident identification. This step involves confirming that an actual incident has occurred. In this case, The company has detected unusual network activity, which could indicate a potential cyber attack. The goal is to identify whether the observed anomaly constitutes a security incident that requires further investigation and response. Without proper identification, it would be premature to take containment or other steps. Identifying the incident clearly is crucial to determining the appropriate response and severity level. Option A. Incident reporting is incorrect. While reporting the incident is crucial, it is not the very first step. Reporting typically happens after the incident is identified. Reporting is about communicating the occurrence of the incident to the relevant parties, but before this can happen, the organization needs to confirm that the activity is indeed a threat and requires formal response. Therefore, incident reporting follows incident identification. Option B. Forensic analysis is also not correct. Forensic analysis is important, but comes after the incident has been identified and contained. Forensic analysis involves investigating the details of the attack, gathering evidence, and understanding how the breach occurred. This step is part of the recovery and post-incident analysis phase, not the first step in managing the incident. Option D. Incident containment is incorrect as well. Containment is an essential step to prevent the threat from spreading further, but it comes after the incident has been identified. The first step is to identify whether the network activity is indeed part of a cyber attack, before trying to contain it. Containment actions might include isolating affected systems or networks, but they can only occur once the incident is verified and classified as a real threat. Next question. As the Chief Information Security Officer of a multinational company, you're overseeing the implementation of a global security program. Which specific indicators should you monitor to effectively measure its success and identify areas for improvement? Option A. Metrics demonstrating reduction in security incidents post-implementation. Option B. Feedback from the annual employee satisfaction survey. Option C. The number of security training sessions held annually. Option D. The total number of security tools deployed. The correct answer is Option A. Metrics demonstrating reduction in security incidents post-implementation. As the CISO of a multinational company, the effectiveness of a security program is best measured by its impact on reducing security incidents. Metrics that show a reduction in incidents, such as fewer data breaches, malware infections, or unauthorized access attempts, directly reflect the success of your security strategy in protecting company assets. These metrics provide actionable data that can be analyzed to determine the strengths and weaknesses of the implemented security measures. They are critical indicators of a program's success, as fewer incidents typically indicate a robust and effective security posture. Option B. Feedback from the annual employee satisfaction survey is incorrect. While employee satisfaction is important, it is not a primary indicator of the effectiveness of a security program. An employee satisfaction survey might include questions about job satisfaction or workplace conditions, but it will not directly address the performance of security measures. Security effectiveness needs to be measured through tangible metrics, such as incident reduction, not subjective feedback on employee morale. Option C. The number of security training sessions held annually is not valid. Although regular security training is important, the number of sessions held is not an effective measure of the security program's success. The focus should be on the effectiveness of the training, such as the percentage of employees who pass security knowledge assessments or demonstrate improved security behaviors, not just the frequency of training sessions. More training does not necessarily correlate with a reduction in security incidents. Option D. The total number of security tools deployed is incorrect as well. While deploying security tools is part of a security strategy, the mere number of tools deployed does not indicate the program's effectiveness. It's more important to assess whether these tools are effectively integrated into the security infrastructure and whether they are actually preventing or detecting threats. The number of tools alone does not guarantee a reduction in incidents or improvement in security posture. Next question. When managing third-party risks, which specific action should be prioritized to ensure the security of sensitive organizational data, particularly when dealing with external vendors? Option A. Implementing a centralized system for monitoring third-party activities. Option B. Maintaining an inventory of all third-party vendors. Option C. Performing regular audits on third-party compliance. Option D. Establishing clear security requirements and contractual obligations. The correct answer is Option D. Establishing clear security requirements and contractual obligations. When managing third-party risks, the most critical action to ensure the security of sensitive organizational data is to establish clear security requirements and contractual obligations. By defining explicit security protocols and requirements in contracts, organizations can set expectations for how third-party vendors handle data, implement necessary safeguards, and respond to potential breaches. This step ensures that both parties are legally obligated to follow proper security practices, reducing the risk of data exposure or breaches. It helps in enforcing security standards and makes third-party vendors accountable for safeguarding sensitive data. Option A. Implementing a centralized system for monitoring third-party activities is incorrect. While implementing a centralized monitoring system can help track vendor activities, it does not directly ensure the security of sensitive data. A monitoring system is a reactive measure, which is important but not as essential as proactively establishing security requirements through contracts. It is only effective when the underlying security practices are clearly defined and enforced. Option B. Maintaining an inventory of all third-party vendors is also not correct. Maintaining an inventory of vendors is a helpful organizational step, but it does not directly address the security of sensitive data. Knowing which vendors are working with your organization is important for tracking, but security assurance comes from ensuring that vendors meet specific security standards, which is done by setting clear contractual obligations. An inventory alone does not guarantee data protection. Option C. Performing regular audits on third-party compliance is incorrect as well. Performing audits is important for checking compliance with security requirements, but it is a measure that comes after establishing clear security expectations. Audits are useful for detecting issues, but they do not prevent data breaches or security lapses in real time. Prioritizing clear contractual security requirements helps prevent issues from arising in the first place, making audits a follow-up action, not the first priority. Next question. As the Information Security Manager at Certification Terminal, how should you focus your efforts to mitigate the rising threat of spear phishing attacks that are targeting similar organizations in your sector? Option A. Implement advanced email filtering solutions. Option B. Enforce stricter access controls. Option C. Enhance network perimeter security. Option D. Conduct frequent awareness training. The correct answer is Option D. Conduct frequent awareness training. Spear phishing attacks primarily target individuals within an organization through tailored emails that often seem legitimate. The most effective way to mitigate the risk of these attacks is to raise awareness among employees about the tactics used by cyber criminals. Conducting frequent awareness training ensures that employees are educated on how to identify suspicious emails, recognize phishing attempts, and report them promptly. Since spear phishing attacks rely on human error, educating users is the most effective and proactive defense to prevent such attacks from succeeding. Regular training helps build a security-aware culture and is one of the best lines of defense. Option A. Implement advanced email filtering solutions is incorrect. While advanced email filtering solutions can help identify and block malicious emails, they are not foolproof. Sophisticated spear phishing attacks can often bypass filters due to the personalized nature of the emails. Filtering can catch some malicious messages, but it doesn't eliminate the risk entirely. Employee awareness, however, can address phishing attempts that evade technical solutions. Option B. Enforce stricter access controls is also not correct. Enforcing stricter access controls can enhance overall security, but is less effective in preventing spear phishing attacks specifically. Spear phishing attacks typically involve social engineering rather than unauthorized access. While limiting access is essential for minimizing the damage if an attack occurs, it doesn't directly prevent attackers from successfully deceiving users into providing sensitive information through phishing. Option C mentioned to enhance network perimeter security. This option is incorrect as well. Enhancing network perimeter security is generally important for protecting against external threats. However, spear phishing attacks target the human element rather than exploiting vulnerabilities in the network perimeter. Since spear phishing is a social engineering attack aimed at deceiving users, improving perimeter security alone does little to protect against these types of threats. Effective mitigation requires addressing the human factor through training and awareness. Next question. When managing application systems in a production environment, what is the most dependable approach to accurately assess the criticality of each system, ensuring resources are allocated properly? Option A. Interview the application programmers. Option B. Perform a business impact analysis. Option C. Perform a gap analysis. Option D. Review the most recent application audits. The correct answer is Option B. Perform a business impact analysis. A business impact analysis is the most reliable method to determine the criticality of application systems in a production environment. The BIA evaluates the potential impact of a disruption to each application and its associated processes on the business. This method considers factors like revenue loss, operational impact, legal compliance, and customer satisfaction, ensuring that critical systems are identified based on their significance to the overall business operations. By performing a BIA, you can accurately assess which applications need the most resources and protection, and prioritize them in case of failure or disaster. Option A. Interview the application programmers is incorrect. While interviewing application programmers can provide technical insights into the function of each application, it does not give a comprehensive understanding of how critical each system is to the business operations. Programmers are primarily concerned with the technical side, but a business impact analysis evaluates the broader business consequences, which is more effective for determining the criticality of systems. Option C. Perform a gap analysis is not valid. A gap analysis identifies the differences between the current state and the desired state of an application or process, focusing on areas for improvement. While useful for identifying deficiencies, a gap analysis does not specifically assess the criticality of each system in relation to business operations. The business impact analysis provides a clearer picture of which systems are critical to the organization's success. Option D. Review the most recent application audits is incorrect as well. While reviewing recent application audits might reveal security vulnerabilities or operational issues, it does not address the criticality of systems in terms of their business value. Audits focus on performance, compliance, and security, not the direct impact of system failures on business operations. To prioritize resources effectively, a business impact analysis is the more suitable approach. Next question. When evaluating network management systems, what key feature should be prioritized to ensure the effective monitoring and troubleshooting of network performance? Option A. An export facility for piping data to spreadsheets. Option B. Capacity to interact with the Internet to solve the problems. Option C. A graphical interface to map the network topology. Option D. Connectivity to a help desk for advice on difficult issues. The correct answer is Option C. A graphical interface to map the network topology. When evaluating network management systems, one of the most essential features to prioritize is a graphical interface to map the network topology. This feature provides a visual representation of the entire network, showing how various devices and systems are interconnected. A clear view of the network topology is crucial for troubleshooting and diagnosing network performance issues. By visualizing the network layout, administrators can quickly identify where problems are occurring, whether it's a device failure, congestion, or a routing issue. This capability significantly improves the speed and accuracy of network monitoring and troubleshooting. Option A. An export facility for piping data to spreadsheets is incorrect. While the ability to export data to spreadsheets can be useful for reporting purposes, it does not directly aid in real-time network monitoring or troubleshooting. This feature can assist with analysis after an issue has been identified, but it is not essential for the ongoing, proactive monitoring or troubleshooting of network performance. Option B. Capacity to interact with the Internet to solve the problems is also not valid. A capacity to interact with the Internet could be useful for remote troubleshooting or accessing online resources, but it is not a key feature for monitoring and troubleshooting network performance. Network management systems should be designed to monitor, diagnose, and resolve internal network issues, rather than relying on Internet-based solutions, which can introduce unnecessary complexity or dependence on external services. Option D. Connectivity to a help desk for advice on difficult issues is incorrect as well. While connectivity to a help desk can be beneficial for troubleshooting difficult or complex issues, it is not the most important feature for ongoing monitoring and troubleshooting. Network management systems should be equipped with automated tools and interfaces, such as network topology mapping, to allow administrators to diagnose and resolve issues independently without always needing external assistance. Next question. As the Information Security Manager, Bob must ensure that the security program in each of the organization's global offices complies with which specific regulations or frameworks. Option A. The data privacy policies where our headquarters are located. Option B. Our corporate data privacy policy. Option C. The data privacy policies where we collect the data. Option D. The CEO's personal preferences. The correct answer is Option C. The data privacy policies where we collect the data. As the Information Security Manager, Bob must ensure that the security program in each of the organization's global offices adheres to relevant regulations or frameworks that apply to the specific locations where the organization collects data. Different regions or countries may have varying data privacy regulations, such as the GDPR in the EU or CCPA in California. Therefore, compliance must be ensured based on the jurisdiction where data collection occurs, not just where the headquarters are located, or based on corporate policies alone. Option A. The data privacy policies where our headquarters are located is incorrect. This is incorrect because it only focuses on the location of the headquarters, which might not apply to other global offices where data is collected. Each office might need to comply with local regulations, regardless of the headquarters location. Option B. Our corporate data privacy policy is not valid. While corporate policies may provide guidance, they are not sufficient to ensure compliance with local regulations or frameworks. Regulations vary by region, so relying only on the corporate policy may lead to non-compliance with local laws. Option D. The CEO's personal preferences is incorrect as well. This is incorrect because compliance should be based on legal and regulatory requirements, not personal preferences. The CEO's preferences cannot override the necessity to follow specific data privacy regulations enforced by law in various jurisdictions. Next question. As a chief risk officer in a manufacturing company, you need to ensure the risk management program addresses the threats posed by potential equipment failures and supply chain disruptions. What is the most practical approach to improve the program's overall efficiency? Option A. Assignment of risk within the organization. Option B. User assessments of changes. Option C. Participation by all members of the organization. Option D. Comparison of the program results with industry standards. The correct answer is Option C. Participation by all members of the organization. Risk management involves identifying, assessing, and mitigating risks across all levels of an organization. When all members of the organization, from top management to operational staff, participate, they can contribute valuable insights, spot potential risks, and ensure that the program is comprehensive. This fosters a culture of risk awareness and ensures that the risk management program is proactive and not just reactive. Option A. Assignment of risk within the organization may seem relevant, but it doesn't address improving the program's efficiency. While assigning responsibility for risks can help in managing them, the effectiveness of the program is enhanced by engaging the entire organization in the process, ensuring continuous identification and mitigation of risks, not just assigning ownership of risks. Option B is not valid. User assessments of changes focuses on assessing changes, but is too narrow to address the entire efficiency of the program. It doesn't directly contribute to a broader, organization-wide approach to risk management, which is necessary for continuous improvement and adaptation. Option D is incorrect as well. Comparison of the program results with industry standards might be useful for benchmarking, but it doesn't actively improve the program's efficiency. Benchmarking is valuable, but without widespread participation and continuous input from various levels of the organization, the program might miss relevant, internal operational insights that could lead to better efficiency. Next question. When evaluating the primary drivers of security spending in a corporate environment, which of the following does not directly contribute to the rising costs of cybersecurity? Option A. Increasing regulations. Option B. Increasing competition. Option C. Increasing law enforcement involvement. Option D. Increasing threats. The correct answer is Option B. Increasing competition. Increasing competition does not directly contribute to rising security spending. Competition among businesses often leads to the development of better products and services, but it doesn't inherently increase the costs associated with cybersecurity measures. While companies may invest in security to protect their intellectual property or customer data, competition itself is not a primary factor driving higher security expenditures. Option A. Increasing regulations is incorrect. Increasing regulations does drive up security spending. As government regulations, such as GDPR or HIPAA, become stricter, organizations must invest in compliance systems, data protection measures, and audit processes, all of which increase cybersecurity costs. Therefore, This is an important factor contributing to the rising costs of security. Option C, increasing law enforcement involvement, is not correct. The involvement of law enforcement typically indicates that there are more incidents of cybercrime or violations being investigated, which directly impacts security spending. Companies often invest more in security when they anticipate or respond to law enforcement efforts related to cybercrime, data breaches, or fraud investigations. This factor, therefore, contributes to increased security costs. Option D, increasing threats, is incorrect as well. Increasing threats are a major driver of rising security spending. As cyber threats evolve and become more sophisticated, organizations need to invest in more advanced security technologies, threat detection, and incident response capabilities. This is a direct contributor to the increasing costs of cybersecurity. Next question. Within an enterprise security system, what exactly is the purpose of keeping security logs, and how do they help detect potential vulnerabilities or incidents? Option A, to perform regular backups of data. Option B, to encrypt communication between devices. Option C, to track and record security-related events and activities. Option D, to store sensitive data. The correct answer is Option C, to track and record security-related events and activities. Security logs are primarily used to monitor and record activities related to system security. They provide detailed records of events such as user logins, access attempts, system errors, and any other activities that might indicate security risks or potential breaches. By tracking these events, security logs help detect vulnerabilities, identify malicious activities, and enable forensic analysis after incidents. This is their core purpose in an enterprise security system. Option A, to perform regular backups of data, is incorrect. While performing regular backups is important for data protection and recovery, security logs are not designed for this purpose. Backups ensure data integrity and availability, but they do not track security events or vulnerabilities. Security logs focus on logging security-related events, not data backup activities. Option B, to encrypt communication between devices, is also incorrect. Encryption of communication is an essential security measure, but has a different purpose. Encryption protects data in transit by making it unreadable to unauthorized parties. Security logs, on the other hand, are focused on tracking activities, not directly performing encryption. Logs may record events where encryption is used, but they don't perform encryption themselves. Option D, to store sensitive data, is incorrect as well. Storing sensitive data is an important task for any organization, but security logs do not serve as storage for sensitive data, such as personally identifiable information or financial data. Security logs are designed to track security events, not to act as repositories for sensitive data. Their purpose is to help identify suspicious activities, not store private information. Next question. When presenting the effectiveness of a newly introduced information security governance framework to senior leadership, which tool would be most useful in clearly conveying its current status? Option A, a maturity model. Option B, periodic testing results. Option C, a threat assessment. Option D, a risk assessment. The correct answer is Option A, a maturity model. A maturity model is the most useful tool for conveying the effectiveness of a newly introduced information security governance framework because it provides a clear, structured way to assess and demonstrate how developed and implemented the framework is. A maturity model typically consists of different stages or levels that show progress over time, allowing senior leadership to see how well the organization is performing in terms of information security governance. It gives an objective, comprehensive view of the current status and helps identify areas for improvement in a manner that is easy for senior leadership to understand and evaluate. Option B. Periodic testing results is incorrect. While periodic testing results, such as vulnerability scans or penetration tests, can provide valuable insights into specific security weaknesses, they are not the best tool for conveying the overall effectiveness of an information security governance framework. Testing results may highlight particular issues, but they do not give a comprehensive view of how well the governance framework is functioning across the organization, nor do they illustrate the framework's maturity or long-term effectiveness. Option C. A threat assessment is not correct. A threat assessment focuses on identifying and analyzing potential threats and vulnerabilities to an organization's assets. While this is critical for risk management, a threat assessment does not provide a clear view of the effectiveness of an information security governance framework. It is more focused on external or internal threats, rather than showing how well the governance framework is structured or implemented to address those threats. Option D. A risk assessment is incorrect as well. A risk assessment is another valuable tool for understanding potential risks within an organization. However, it primarily focuses on identifying and evaluating the likelihood and impact of specific risks, rather than assessing the effectiveness or maturity of the security governance framework itself. While related, a risk assessment does not provide as clear a picture of the framework's current status as a maturity model does. Next question. In a scenario where an internal network includes systems at multiple sensitivity levels, what would be the best course of action for protecting the most sensitive systems against unauthorized access and breaches? Option A. Asymmetric encryption. Option B. Multi-factor authentication. Option C. Symmetric encryption. Option D. Network segmentation. The correct answer is Option D. Network segmentation. In an environment where an internal network includes systems at multiple sensitivity levels, network segmentation is the best course of action for protecting the most sensitive systems. By dividing the network into isolated segments, you can ensure that more sensitive systems are placed in a separate segment with stricter access controls. This reduces the risk of unauthorized access and breaches, as any compromise in a less sensitive area will not automatically provide access to high-security systems. Network segmentation is an effective way to contain potential threats and restrict access based on security levels, which is crucial for protecting sensitive data and critical systems. Option A. Asymmetric encryption is incorrect. Asymmetric encryption, while a strong cryptographic method for protecting data during transmission, is not the best solution for protecting entire systems or segments within a network. It encrypts data with a public key and decrypts it with a private key, making it ideal for securing data exchanges. However, network segmentation provides a more direct method for securing sensitive systems within a network by limiting access to specific areas. Asymmetric encryption is valuable for securing communications, but it does not directly address the need to protect sensitive systems within a network. Option B. Multi-factor authentication is inappropriate in this scenario. Multi-factor authentication is an essential security measure for verifying user identities and preventing unauthorized access to individual accounts or systems. While MFA enhances security, it does not directly address the broader issue of protecting sensitive systems within a network. It ensures that users accessing the system are authenticated, but MFA alone does not prevent unauthorized users from bypassing network controls or gaining access to more sensitive parts of the network. Network segmentation provides more effective isolation of high-security systems. Option C. Symmetric encryption is incorrect as well. Symmetric encryption, where the same key is used for both encryption and decryption, is commonly used for securing data at rest or in transit. However, like asymmetric encryption, symmetric encryption is more relevant for protecting data during transmission or storage, not for managing access control between different levels of network systems. To protect sensitive systems within a network, network segmentation is more effective, as it restricts access based on security classifications, ensuring that sensitive systems are isolated and better protected from unauthorized access. Next question. If you had to explain it to someone unfamiliar with security, what is the simplest way to describe the purpose of a security policy in protecting company data and assets from potential threats? Option A. To eliminate the need for security training. Option B. To decorate the office space with security posters. Option C. To provide guidelines and standards for maintaining the organization's security posture. Option D. To serve as a legal document for prosecuting cyber criminals. The correct answer is Option C. To provide guidelines and standards for maintaining the organization's security posture. A security policy serves as a set of rules, guidelines, and standards that help an organization maintain a secure environment. It outlines the procedures for safeguarding sensitive data, preventing unauthorized access, and ensuring the overall security of the organization. These policies provide clarity on how employees should handle information, which actions are permitted, and what practices should be followed to mitigate security risks. By establishing clear security protocols, the security policy ensures that the organization can effectively protect its data and assets from potential threats. Option A. To eliminate the need for security training is incorrect. A security policy does not eliminate the need for security training. In fact, it often works hand in hand with training. While a security policy outlines the rules and guidelines for maintaining security, it is essential to train employees on how to follow those guidelines effectively. Security training helps staff understand the policy's practical application and raises awareness about potential risks. The policy and training complement each other to create a well-rounded security culture, so this option is incorrect. Option B. To decorate the office space with security posters is also incorrect. While posters and other visual reminders can be part of a security awareness program, they do not represent the primary purpose of a security policy. Security policies are meant to provide clear, actionable instructions and protocols for safeguarding assets, not just decorate spaces. Posters alone do not provide the necessary structure or depth for maintaining an organization's security posture, making this option incorrect. Option D. To serve as a legal document for prosecuting cyber criminals is incorrect as well. While a security policy can certainly play a role in legal matters by providing a framework for actions that could be pursued in the event of a breach, its primary purpose is not for prosecuting cyber criminals. A security policy aims to prevent incidents and guide employees on best practices to avoid security threats. Legal documents related to prosecution are typically related to evidence of violations and other documentation, but the policy itself is focused on maintaining organizational security and preventing incidents rather than serving as a legal tool. Next question. When comparing different approaches to incident response, what would be the most effective step to take in a detailed incident response plan, including containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned, as well as the role of communication and preventive measures for future security breaches? Option A. Implementing immediate containment measures to isolate compromised systems and prevent further unauthorized access. Option B. Activating an incident response team comprising cybersecurity experts, legal advisors, and communication specialists to collaboratively address the incident. Option C. Engaging law enforcement agencies to investigate the cyber attack, gather evidence, and pursue legal actions against the perpetrators. Option D. Communicating transparently with affected customers, regulatory bodies, and the public, providing regular updates on the incident response progress. The correct answer is option B, activating an incident response team comprising cybersecurity experts, legal advisors, and communication specialists to collaboratively address the incident. The most effective step in an incident response plan is to activate an incident response team that brings together key professionals from various disciplines, including cybersecurity, legal, and communication. This team is critical because it enables a collaborative approach to handle the incident efficiently. Cybersecurity experts focus on technical containment, eradication, and recovery efforts. Legal advisors handle compliance, regulatory concerns, and potential legal actions, and communication specialists manage stakeholder communication and public relations. This multidisciplinary team ensures a comprehensive response that addresses all aspects of the incident, from technical containment to legal and communication requirements, and sets the stage for long-term recovery and prevention. Option A is incorrect. While containment is crucial, and often one of the first steps in an incident response plan, it is only one part of a much larger, comprehensive process. Containment is necessary to prevent further damage, but does not address the broader aspects of incident management, such as the need for collaboration, legal considerations, and communication with stakeholders. Immediate containment should be one of the actions taken by the incident response team, but it is not the most effective step in isolation. Option C is inappropriate. Engaging law enforcement is important, especially if the attack involves criminal activity, but it is typically a later stage in the incident response process. Law enforcement involvement often comes after initial containment, eradication, and recovery steps have been taken. Prioritizing this step can delay more immediate actions needed to address the breach, such as isolating compromised systems and managing internal communication. It is essential, but not the most effective first step in responding to an incident. Option D is incorrect as well. Clear and transparent communication is crucial, especially in maintaining trust with customers and stakeholders. However, communication should follow after initial containment, and mitigation efforts are in place. Without first addressing the technical aspects of the incident, communicating without a clear plan can result in incomplete or inaccurate information being shared. Communication becomes most effective once the incident response team has a clear understanding of the situation and recovery actions. Next question. When comparing the various factors involved in setting the budget for an information security program, which one would you consider most important for ensuring the protection of organizational data and assets? Option A. Benchmarking the organization's security spending against industry peers. Option B. The cost of implementing the latest security technologies. Option C. The organization's overall risk appetite and business impact of potential breaches. Option D. Ensuring that the budget includes comprehensive training for the security team. The correct answer is Option C. The organization's overall risk appetite and business impact of potential breaches. When setting the budget for an information security program, the most important factor is understanding the organization's overall risk appetite and the business impact of potential breaches. This is because the security budget should align with the level of risk the organization is willing to accept, as well as the potential costs associated with a breach, such as reputational damage, financial losses, and legal liabilities. By considering the business impact and risk appetite, the information security manager can allocate resources more effectively, ensuring that the organization's security program addresses the most critical risks that could affect its operations. Option A is incorrect. While benchmarking against industry peers can provide insight into how the organization is performing relative to others in the same sector, it is not the most important factor for determining the security budget. The organization's unique risk profile and business needs should take precedence over industry averages. Benchmarks can be useful for setting general expectations, but they don't consider the specific threats and risks the organization faces. Thus, benchmarking should be a supplementary consideration, not the primary one. Option B. The cost of implementing the latest security technologies is inappropriate for this case. Though the cost of new technologies is an important factor, focusing solely on implementing the latest technologies can lead to overspending on solutions that may not align with the organization's risk needs. The latest technologies might not always provide the best return on investment or address the most pressing risks. Rather than just focusing on the cost of the latest tools, the budget should reflect the overall risk strategy and be based on the organization's risk appetite and business impact, not just on technology trends. Option D is incorrect as well. Training for the security team is essential to ensure that they can effectively manage and respond to security incidents. However, while training is crucial, it is not the most important factor when initially setting the security budget. Training is an important component of the overall budget, but should be considered within the larger context of risk management and organizational priorities. Focusing too much on training alone could lead to neglecting more critical areas, such as infrastructure improvements or threat mitigation strategies. Next question. When focusing on the role of a Chief Information Security Officer, how should a CISO strategically approach integrating risk management into day-to-day business operations and ensure it aligns with organizational objectives? Option A. Utilize a standardized risk assessment framework across all departments. Option B. Collaborate with business units to embed security measures in workflows. Option C. Designate a risk management team to handle all risk-related activities. Option D. Adopt a risk acceptance policy to minimize disruptions to operations. The correct answer is Option B. Collaborate with business units to embed security measures in workflows. The most strategic approach for a Chief Information Security Officer to integrate risk management into day-to-day business operations is to collaborate with various business units. By working closely with departments such as finance, operations, and marketing, the CISO can ensure that security measures are seamlessly embedded into workflows and are part of the everyday business processes. This collaboration helps create a culture of security throughout the organization, making security everyone's responsibility. It also ensures that risk management is aligned with the organization's objectives, as business units will be more likely to adhere to security practices that are directly relevant to their operations. This approach leads to better risk identification, mitigation strategies, and long-term alignment with organizational goals. Option A is incorrect. While using a standardized risk assessment framework is important, it does not address the more strategic and integrated nature of risk management. A framework alone is not enough to ensure risk management is embedded into day-to-day business activities. It needs to be complemented by active collaboration with business units to ensure that the framework is applied effectively within each department's unique context. This approach can help identify and assess risks, but it does not ensure that risk management is strategically aligned with business processes in the same way collaboration does. Option C is also incorrect. While establishing a dedicated risk management team is valuable, it can lead to the misconception that risk management is only the responsibility of a few people. In contrast, the CISO should aim to make risk management part of the organization's culture by involving all departments. Having a single team handle all risk-related activities may result in a lack of ownership and responsibility for risk at the department level, leading to gaps in risk mitigation and response. The CISO's role is to ensure that risk management is integrated across all business functions, not isolated to a team. Option D is incorrect as well. While a risk acceptance policy can be useful in specific cases, Making it a core strategy for integrating risk management is not ideal. Risk acceptance means that some risks are knowingly accepted without mitigation, which could lead to unaddressed vulnerabilities. By prioritizing risk acceptance to minimize disruptions, a CISO might inadvertently leave the organization exposed to threats. The goal of integrating risk management is to mitigate risks, rather than accept them, and proactive collaboration with business units is a more effective way to ensure that security is incorporated into daily operations without causing major disruptions. Next question. As the Information Security Manager at Certification Terminal, you're tasked with overseeing the security aspect of a new partnership with a business handling customer mailings. What key security measure should you prioritize to ensure the confidentiality and integrity of customer data throughout this collaboration? Option A. Verifying that the third party has obliged to implement security requirements by way of a contract. Option B. Ensuring the new business has a robust disaster recovery plan. Option C. Implementing advanced encryption techniques for customer data. Option D. Conducting a background check on the new business's employees. The correct answer is Option A. Verifying that the third party has obliged to implement security requirements by way of a contract. As the Information Security Manager, one of your primary roles is to ensure that any third party handling sensitive customer data complies with strict security protocols. By including security requirements in the partnership contract, you create a formal, legally binding agreement that ensures the new business understands and agrees to follow necessary security measures. This is a proactive approach to mitigating potential risks associated with data breaches and security lapses. It also provides a clear structure for accountability in case of non-compliance. Contracts serve as a foundation for ensuring that both parties have aligned goals concerning data security. Option B is incorrect. While disaster recovery plans are essential, ensuring that the new business has a robust one is not the most crucial task when forming a partnership. Disaster recovery is reactive, whereas ensuring security requirements are agreed upon contractually is more proactive, addressing data confidentiality and integrity from the beginning, ensuring compliance up front. Option C states to implement advanced encryption techniques for customer data. Encryption is undoubtedly critical for protecting data, but implementing encryption techniques is more of a technical measure rather than a strategic step in forming a new partnership. Encryption should be part of the security plan after the third-party agreement is made and the contractual obligations are clear. The first step is ensuring that proper security requirements are agreed upon contractually, after which encryption can be part of the overall strategy. Option D is incorrect as well. While background checks are useful for assessing the trustworthiness of employees, they do not directly address the security framework of the partnership or the safeguarding of customer data. Verifying security obligations via contract takes precedence, as it sets clear guidelines for how customer data will be protected, ensuring that security measures are enforced from the start of the collaboration. Next question. When securing an area prone to piggybacking, what physical security mechanism, such as a man-trap or dead-man door, should you consider to ensure that only one person is allowed to pass through at a time, preventing unauthorized access? Option A. A monitored double doorway entry system. Option B. A one-way door that does not allow exit after entry. Option C. A monitored turnstile entry system. Option D. A monitored doorway entry system. The correct answer is Option C. A monitored turnstile entry system. A monitored turnstile entry system is specifically designed to allow only one person to pass through at a time. It uses physical barriers and monitoring mechanisms to prevent piggybacking, ensuring that unauthorized individuals cannot enter by following an authorized person. The turnstile typically locks or obstructs access, until the first individual has fully passed through, which effectively prevents more than one person from entering at once. This system is highly effective in high security areas, where controlled access is essential to mitigate unauthorized entry. Option A. A monitored double doorway entry system is incorrect. While a monitored double doorway entry system may seem secure, it does not inherently prevent piggybacking. In fact, if both doors open at the same time, multiple individuals could enter without being detected. This system might still require additional measures, such as a man-trap or a turnstile, to ensure that only one person passes through at a time. Option B provides a one-way door that does not allow exit after entry isn't accurate. A one-way door can prevent exit after entry, but it does not address the issue of piggybacking during entry. It allows entry in one direction but does not restrict multiple individuals from entering at once. Additionally, it could cause congestion or inconvenience, especially if people need to exit, which is not optimal in most security scenarios. Option D. A monitored doorway entry system isn't appropriate for this scenario. A monitored doorway entry system generally refers to a door equipped with monitoring devices to track who enters, like cameras or sensors. However, it does not inherently prevent multiple individuals from entering together. Without additional physical barriers, such as a turnstile or man-trap, it would still be vulnerable to piggybacking, where one person follows another without authorization. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content. Drop your questions or thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video.